Good afternoon, everyone. This is Elizabeth McDade with the Council, and I want to thank you for joining us for the Council's webinar series. We have with us today Anita Burke, Executive Vice President at the Institute, and she is here to share with us some details about the Institute's new producer training program. And she's going to give you an opportunity to share your insights and feedback with her about this new training experience. I'm going to ask you to feel free to submit questions as we go along. Just type them in the Q&A box located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Anita will address as many as she can. We'll also be recording this webinar, and we'll email out to everyone a link to it as well as a copy of the slide deck. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Anita.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I just want everyone to know how pleased I am to be here with you this afternoon. Our agenda is covering basically three things. We would like to spend just a moment giving a description of a business challenge that probably all of you will recognize that is facing agents and brokers. Then we want to give you a vision for a unique new producer training program that the Institute has developed collaboratively with the industry. It'll be a unique turnkey type of program, and the whole goal here is to help new producers become top achievers sooner. And importantly, part of the purpose of this webinar is to get feedback from all of you. And we'll have a question and answer session, and I'm hoping to get your thoughts on the program and questions that you have. We're giving the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers really a first look at this before it goes out to the industry as a whole. And so the feedback we get from all of you is really important to us. We value our relationship with the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers and all of you. So we want to learn if this type of program would be of help to you to continue your organic growth, which we know is very important to all of you. So just a little bit of background about the Institute. We are a not-for-profit organization supported by the industry. Our board of directors would be the CEOs of the major insurance firms, not only insurance companies, but also agents and brokers. So we've been providing risk and insurance knowledge solutions for over 100 years to the industry. We currently serve in excess of 100,000 professionals a year for their professional development. So we're really dedicated to the success of the industry and agents and brokers in particular. So we've been told by our customers that we provide an unbiased approach, and so we've tried to put this program together in collaboration with the industry. So we actually commissioned research to look at what is being provided in the way of training to agents and brokers. We wanted to be able to develop something that would be very much of help. We didn't want to duplicate something that's already out there that's working well for you. And what we found in our research is that there is a significant gap in new producer training in the agent and broker community. So we were also told in our research that the Institute is uniquely positioned to develop such a program. We're viewed as an unbiased resource to the industry and could take an unbiased approach to the development of the content. We also are viewed as having the experience and capabilities to be able to develop training for agents and brokers and for the industry. And so we've been supported in this by the industry and in collaboration with the industry, getting feedback from them. So the challenge, this is not anything new to any of you, I'm sure, but according to a Reagan study, there's about a 56% success rate for producers who are hired. And that means that much of the time, the time and money that is spent on hiring producers and getting them trained up is being wasted on new hires who don't end up working out in the end. So there's also the issue that because a number of producers are retiring, 55 to 60% of the firms are not hiring enough new producers. And finally, the industry as a whole, agents and brokers, the weighted average producer age is actually higher than some other industries. And so there's an even bigger gap to fill here. So it just raises the importance of providing better training to new producers and having them validate more effectively and efficiently to be able to fill the gap that the industry is facing. So this is the feedback that we got from the research that we did, that there are training programs out there, but they have not been totally filling the need. So the solution that we've come up with is an integrated insurance producer training experience. In our conversations with firms in the industry, we find that people do have, of course, producer training programs, but they were feeling like they had pieces of what they needed, and often the firm didn't have the resources to try to pull together everything that they felt they needed. So that's why we started looking at creating something that would be providing a comprehensive solution, and the idea is that we want to co-create this with the industry. That's why I wanted to talk with all of you today to get your ideas. We really want to start out with a program and get your feedback and constantly improve and change it to really meet your needs. So as I mentioned, this was backed by customer research. We actually put together an outline, a draft outline, shared it with a number of firms, got their feedback about what ought to be included, and that provided the basis of what you're going to see today. So what we did hear from them is that they would like a one-stop solution, that often in trying to fill the gaps they felt were out there, it was time-consuming to try to look at all the different firms that might be out there offering different solutions and trying to decide which ones to use, putting together a curriculum, putting together the actual content that would be in it. So what we have devised that we're going to talk about today is a one-stop solution that's offering relevant, unbiased, holistic training with the goal of developing producers to become top achievers sooner. So there are 4 parts to the training program. The excelling on the job is really the onboarding of new producers. There's a segment on sales training, which we all know is critical to success. There are business skills, which some of us would call soft skills, that are very important to producers to be proficient in. And finally, the technical risk management and insurance knowledge they need to be able to serve their customers. So this is designed to be a quick-hit training approach for new producers to get them up and running very quickly. So let's talk about the first piece of this, which is excelling on the job. So the focus here is on onboarding best practices. This is really what you are expecting of a producer to do in your particular firm. It's what being able to introduce your culture. What has been put together is sort of a track to run on, a best practices, if you will, of the points to be covered with a new producer, with the opportunity for your firm to add your own details very specifically about what's important to you. So some of these things that are included in an outline to be covered would be things like what the culture of your company is. What are the expectations of a producer? Some firms have producers involved in marketing their accounts, others do not. It's a place to talk about the resources that are available to producers, who some of the competitors are, what your strengths are, what you feel your value add to your customers is, if you have specializations, who your key insurance carriers are, that type of information, the go-to people in your organization who can be of particular help to a producer. All of that would be included in the onboarding best practices for you to be able to customize for your particular firm. And then mentorship, we found, is a very important element, can be a key element for success for a new producer, because this would be someone who has been successful in your firm, someone that you choose who could relate well to whoever the new producer is, and help guide them through how you do business in your firm and what it takes to be a quality producer, a successful producer. So we found, again, mentorship can be a key element for success, and in fact, it can go a long way in creating loyalty from the new producer that you hire, because you're providing them with a key resource within your firm. So the sales training piece of this, The idea is to curate best practices on how to be successful in sales. These are proven, repeatable methods, not the flavor of the month idea, not sales techniques, if you will. These are repeatable methods. So it's intended to be practical, impactful training to teach behaviors for success and provide individualized coaching so that the new producer can build a foundation for success and in the end develop a personalized business plan that will help them be successful. So we realize that there are different personalities in different training firms, and your firm has its own personality, so we've tried to provide options for you to choose from. So Polestar, Beyond Insurance, and Schul Baker are the three sales trainers who have been mentioned by some of the industry, some of the agents and brokers that we've talked with. I would be interested if there are others that you think we ought to consider. We're trying to provide a reasonable variety for you to choose from. But having said there are multiple ones, they are all covering an outline that will give you the repeatable methods. But they're obviously covering them in their own way, in their own style, if you will. So the partners provide varying options in terms of how this is delivered and the type of learning or training. So some of this will be direct coaching. All of them have a degree of direct coaching. Some of them have more direct coaching than others. That's one of the differences. There are webinars that will be provided. Some of the webinars are live, what we call synchronous webinars, where the coach is actually online with the producers who are involved, and the producers can all be involved together. There are also recorded webinars. There would be recommended articles, also online training. Some of it is video training, some of it's online courses. But the key here is, as these producers are going through each of the elements of this training program, there are also activities that they engage in as they complete each of these segments that allow them to put into place, into practice, what they've learned. So we're trying to make this as practical as possible so that they can utilize quickly in their day-to-day work that they'll actually be doing, practice what they've learned, which helps the retention of the learning. So there are a variety of ways that this is presented. So the next segment here is business skills. The business skills are what we would sometimes refer to as soft skills. These are skills that are needed, and we commissioned a firm who provided their research on what are the particular soft skills that are critical to someone who is in sales and doing consulting work, risk consulting work with customers. So the soft skills are focused specifically on those skills that have been identified as being very important in sales and consulting. So we have selected an outside firm who is recognized as being very competent in this area and providing these soft skills critical to success for producers in sales and consulting. So in this way, we want to give a strong foundation to producers for these sales that are, for these skills that are critical to them to be successful. And finally, technical risk management and insurance knowledge. The institutes have created courses specifically for new producers, and these are quick hits that help them become conversant quickly in the basics so that they can understand the basics, but also recognize those types of exposures that are maybe out of the ordinary, so they know they need to get specialized help. So what will be included in here is an understanding of how to identify and address clients' risk exposures and explore clients, for example, commercial property and liability needs, how to protect clients against business income losses, helping the clients meet workers' compensation obligations, and avoiding coverage gaps with commercial excess and umbrella liability. But the whole focus is more on a risk management approach, with the idea of recognizing that when insurance is the appropriate risk technique, here is the information that you know, not that insurance is the only risk management technique. So it's really focused on the risk management side of it, but helping them understand the technical commercial pieces of it when that is the appropriate approach. So those are the 4 pieces of the program. The program is intended to be about a 6-month program. It depends upon how quickly the producer moves through this. But again, the idea is to get the new producer up and running as quickly as possible. This 6-month program is actually phase 1 of what will be additional phases to come in the future. This phase 1 we anticipate being available probably early in the 2nd quarter. But we are gathering feedback right now on the program. We'll have some people actually testing the program for us. We'll be making adjustments as we go with the idea of introducing it initially around the 1st part of the 2nd quarter. Future offerings in phases 2 through 4, the idea will be to build these producers up to the expert level, and we'll be including segments that will have specialized coverage and industry specialization, trending topics that will help provide the CE that they need as well. So we think that the benefits overall of this program will be the ease and accessibility, the idea of a one-stop shop, providing an efficient and effective training for new producers, and with the idea that it can be worked into the producer's time frame. This is not send your producer for a week and they sit in a classroom. This is over the 6-month period and delivered in a way that allows the producers to work this in among their regular work that they're doing, and in fact take what they learn and incorporate it into the work that they're doing. So it is a centralized, integrated program. Within this program, there is the ability to track the producer's progress through the program. It will be accessible from one portal. And what we're trying to provide here is an effective way to identify your most promising performers. And conversely, if someone is not doing as well, you'll be able to identify that quicker if they, in fact, are not a fit, which often is an important thing to be able to know as soon as possible. So the institutes, we've been told, are known for quality and being a trusted, unbiased knowledge solution provider. The whole idea here is to develop these top achievers sooner so that your organization can continue the organic growth that's very important to you. So at this point, I would just like to stop and see.
Yeah, we do have a question.
We have a question here. Will there be additional learning opportunities for webinars, calls, et cetera, to enhance learning in addition to the portal? And the answer to that is yes. It'll be coming in additional phases, but I would also say there are additional opportunities for webinars and calls within the sales training that is happening. And there will be coming even more opportunities for learning after that 6-month period. So we very much want to be able to provide for the needs of these producers as they proceed in their career. So we're very much aware that there's more that they will need to know. So this first 6 months is kind of a quick hit, I guess I would say. So I don't know if there are any other questions that anyone might have that you want to type in there. What is the cost and where do we sign up? Okay, so the cost of the overall program, it will depend on which of the sales trainers that you choose, but the overall cost is, I'll just say it's under $10,000. We try to keep it as reasonable as we can. I see we have a few more questions here. Let's see. Okay.
They have some Schulbaker producers.
And we need this kind of training.
Yeah.
So what we're hoping is that this maybe augments some of the training that you already have, or that it can be in addition to the training that you already have, which is great. So this is the kind of information we would like to get. If there are things we can do that would be of even more help to you beyond what we have described here, we would very much like to do that. Are there any other questions at this point that anyone wants to type in? Well, if not, please, if you do have any more, please feel free to type them in. Will there be a point of single contact for the producer? So They will have, we're asking two things. We're asking that the firm provide a mentor who will be a main contact for the producer, but in the sales training aspect of this, they would have a contact specifically for them. This would be individualized coaching that would be given to producers. Each of the programs has some individualized coaching that will go with it, so they would have contact with one single person. Some of the programs have much more coaching than others. That's part of the difference between them that you'll be able to see as we put that information together. Will we receive notification via email? When to sign up? Certainly, and I would like to give you my contact information so that if you would like to have further discussion, I would be very glad to talk with you. My email is just Bourke, B-O-U-R-K-E, @theinstitutes@gmail.com, .org. Anita Bourke at the Institutes, Bourke at theinstitutes.org.
No worries, because tomorrow we're going to be sending you the slide deck, and
yes.
We'll be sure to include Anita's email address, whatever it happens to be.
I have too many emails here, obviously. So yes, very much we would like to be able to provide more information on it and give you that information, especially as we get close. Will employee benefits be added in the future or just property casualty? Right now, it is just property and casualty. If we find there is a big demand for the benefit side, actually one of the trainers does do benefits coaching as well as the property casualty side. We've not created yet the other pieces that would go with employee benefits, but if there's a strong interest in that, that's something we certainly can consider. Will you be including all attendees here on future misses regarding your program? How do we stay in the loop? Yes, we absolutely would be glad to include all of you on any of the information that begins to come out about this.
We'll provide Anita with your email address, so you will be on her distribution list.
Great. I see someone here would like benefits as well, at least to look at it and might help with the curriculum. We would be very appreciative of that when we get to the point where we have enough people who are interested and we want to take a very serious look at that. We would welcome that very much. Part of what we're trying to do here is co-create with the industry so that what we provide is helpful. Yes, with all the changes in the benefits world, this will be critical. I hear you. I hear you. That's
shouting.
Great to know.
You're shouting.
That is great to know. Very good to know. Any other questions that anyone has? All right, well, if you think of any more, please do type them in. But I do have a little poll for you, that just 3 questions that we would like to ask you. So the first one is, what type of producer development are you currently using? There are some items there. So a lot of you are using other. And if you could type in just a few words about what the other type is, that would be very helpful.
That's what I was thinking. It's probably internal training. Oh, with internal training's up there.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
So that's good.
See, they shifted from other to one. Okay.
All right. So thank you for your answers to that question. Let's go on to.
Let me see the results. They might do it.
Can we post results at this point?
That might be what they're going to say.
Okay, just a moment. We have a few participants who are waiting. We're waiting for. Okay, so.
I think they can see it.
So we're hoping you can see what the results look like to this first question. All right, so the next question here is just to fill in a few words, what are the key characteristics that you look for in a producer training program? It would be very helpful to know what those are, if you don't mind just sharing a few words with us.
should have the Jeopardy music playing.
So we have just a couple more people finishing up here. Okay, let's go on to the next, the final question. So we have a couple more.
I think you have to wait till it downloads.
We have a few more responding. Okay. So let's go to the last question. So the question here is how helpful would this new producer development program be to your firm? We're just trying to get a gauge of what you're thinking.
Everybody.
Okay. So I want to thank all of you for the questions that you've posed and for giving us some feedback on our poll that we've asked here. So again, if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to contact me. And as Elizabeth said, they'll be sending out copies of the slides and my contact information. And please feel free to get in touch with me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions, and we'll make sure that you get any updates on the program. So at this point, if there are no other questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope this session was helpful and insightful for you. As a reminder, you will receive the recorded webinar and slide deck tomorrow, as well as Anita Burke's email address. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.